Hi everyone, welcome to today's interview. My name is Alice Kavili and I'm the founder of Rise Africa Agricultural Services. We are on a mission to empower aspiring as well as practicing farmers to sustainably and profitably venture into farming. Today we have the honor of interviewing Mr. Noah Nasiali. Noah is a techpreneur cum farmer who pivots on human-centered design to design solutions for farmers as well as other key players in the value chain. He's also the founder of Africa Farmers Club, which is a community of at least 450,000 farmers across sub-Saharan Africa. Additionally, he's also the founder of a farmers training center, which hosts Eteina Farm. That is where we are today, and we are just about to interview Noah. Our hope is that you will get to learn so much about him concerning the mixed crops that he farms here at this farm, which is about more or less at least 20 acres and expanding. Welcome. Hi Noah, how are you?
Very good. Yes.
Thank you very much for just allowing us to interview you today. We really are eager to learn from you. You are one of the most outstanding farmers in Africa, I dare say. And we are curious just to find out what your background is and how did you end up in farming?
Okay, interesting. So my name is Nasiali. I proudly own the title farmer and Africa's soil health ambassador.
Oh, great.
Which we'll come back to it later on. I got into farming because I wanted to, my background is in tech. My background is in tech to build technology solutions, which are now commonly known as Agritech solutions or digitization of agriculture. I got into farming because I wanted to find out first, what do farmers require to be able to put that information in a digital format. So my journey into farming started 17 years ago when I decided, after visiting quite a number of farmers, to get some details in terms of what I really wanted to build for them. And why I got into farming is because there was a lot of inconsistency in terms of the information I was getting from the different farmers I was visiting, some in the same localities. And what made me now get into farming is because I wanted to see how do farmers go about their business and what are the pain points, because from what I had was quite a lot of different things: markets, agronomic support, financing, and all that. So that's how I got into farming. Yes. And I still remember my first crop was capsicum. Yes.
Interesting. If you're familiar with the concept of human-centered design, you will pick something about that as Noah speaks about him venturing into farming and why he ventured into farming, his desire to understand like the lived experiences of farmers. And I want at this point just to request you, Mr. Nasiali, to explain to our audience, what is human-centered design? I know you're familiar with that concept. And how do you apply, what's the relationship between HCD, human-centered design, and farming? How do you apply that to farming?
So I will answer that question from an agricultural perspective and the journey that I've had. So human-centered design is actually designing something or a product or a service for people, with people, for them. I think yes, basically involving whoever is going to use the product or the service to be part of the designing of as the functionality. For example, if it's a mobile solution, an app, probably the user experience, the user interface, the functionalities. Something that I learned was even the colors of that app, the colors of a solution. I found it very interesting. I remember some time back when I was visiting different farmers, and one of the things that I kept on asking them is this packaging the right color? And they'll be like, no, it doesn't resonate well with this season or this period or this crop and stuff like that. So for me, human-centered design, I've termed it now farmer-centered design, is basically involving farmers in the building of the solution and as well as the route to market, because farmers are the ones who understand what goes around. I can tell you For sure, Alice. I have visited close to 6,000 different farmers.
Okay.
And because of that, I've got a lot of rich information about what farmers are. I have personally been farming for the last 17 years. I have got into scenarios where I only used to hear from farmers. I have lost a crop, 12 acres of a whole crop. I have, my farm has been carried away by floods a while back. I have planted 75,000 cabbages and nobody came to buy. I have got into, I can say, crop funerals where I've buried produce because I didn't
Interesting term.
Yes. So for me, farmer-centered design, basically just coming out from human-centered design, is more than just data. Is more about the feeling these farmers, being empathetic with them, sitting with them in their farms. And personally, I have actually seen that in my own farm as well. Yes.
Curious to find out, and I'm sure also the audience is also curious to find out. Are there some examples of solutions you have designed based off the information you have gotten from farmers, interviewing them, interacting with them, that you would want to share with us? By the way, to our listeners, one of the most outstanding thing that Mr. Noah has done is he founded the Africa Farmers Club. And as mentioned during the introduction, it's a community of farmers, at least 450,000 farmers across sub-Saharan Africa. Farmers, it's just a space where farmers encourage one another, and different consultants, including him being one of them, are able to advise these farmers based on their needs and the needs that they share. Would you tell us a little bit more about the Africa Farmers Club? I know it's one of those solutions that you developed.
Yes.
And maybe you can share what inspired you to start that club in particular. And feel free also to share any other solutions you have developed for farmers or any key players within that value chain.
Okay.
Please share a little bit more on that.
Yeah. It's interesting that I'm sitting on this side of the interview.
You're used to interviewing people. Roles reversed now.
I'm really excited to see this actually happening. So Africa Farmers Club started from a very desperate position that I was in at that time. I remember I was given a contract to plant 75,000 cabbages. And it was a signed contract. I don't know how legal that was, but it was a signed contract. And I was given this contract. The agreement was the person was supposed to pick at 30 shillings per cabbage. And I did my best. I remember one of the cabbages was like around 8 kilos each.
Wow.
That was really nice in Kamulu, when it's how hot it is. But on the time when the cabbages were ready, I kept on calling this person, and they didn't look like they remembered that we had a contract. So they came and picked only 800 pieces and said, now they'll be picking like that. I was like, okay, interesting. I had never planted cabbages again.
Okay.
But now I was stuck with 75,000 cabbages.
Wow.
And I remember I used to carry cabbages home until my wife told me, now we're going to make cabbage soup for you. I would give to neighbors, and neighbors would be like, no, the one you gave us yesterday.
Still there.
But this was something that I had got used to in terms of information. I remember when I was researching about markets, I remember reading a lot about Indian farmers, even taking their own lives because of lack of markets, losses. I had visited quite a number of farmers who told me that they will never go back to the farm again. I mean, we always say that and we go back again. But this was me firsthand. Stuck with cabbages, don't know what to do. I remember I took a selfie on my farm and sat down, and I thought, what should I do with this information? This is too much information. And then I went to Facebook and started. I initially wanted to start a page, which much later I started. But I said, no, having visited different farmers, farmers kept on saying, we just want to talk. We want to talk. And at that time, I can't remember. I don't think WhatsApp was as it is right now. It was a bit limited in terms of functionalities. So I decided, and so initially I went, before the group, I started bot, a chat bot on Telegram. But it was really hard to get farmers to join Telegram because you tell them and they'll be like, the older ones will be like, Telegram, the one for and then the other challenge is that now farmers need interaction. So you had to tell farmers, okay, when you join the group, go and activate the notifications so that you can get notification. That became in the process of now designing and thinking through, I was like, no, that's too much. Because even me, I wouldn't do that. And so I said, let me do it on Facebook. I remember some of the questions that people kept asking me is that, will farmers ever be on Facebook? And one of the reasons why I did it is because there were existing groups on Facebook, which I had got a lot of information from, because extension services in Kenya was, or rather is not there anymore. So that was our digital extension network, where we'd post questions and more experienced farmers would share. I remember one very good friend of mine called Josephat Odhiambo kept on sharing and asked me, Noah, are you farming or are you building a solution? I was like, I am trying to farm so that I build the solution. And he sent me, I think, 12 guides for Sukuma Wiki, for capsicum, all these guides, which I found very interesting because these were based on his experiences as a farmer. He's also he's a trained agricultural professional, but now he had documented that journey, which is something that is very rare. I used his guides and I think to my expectation, I excelled because I remember I started harvesting and I was harvesting really well. I remember I was harvesting watermelon because of his guides. I never knew how to, even where to get this information. And the reason why is that when I started farming, there was very little information. Very few extension officers or agronomists were online. So this was a very interesting journey for me because when I posted and said, I would like to invite you for us just to talk. And I said, if you want to join this group, you need to share a selfie on your farm. And so that's how it started. It started farmers sharing selfies on their farm, talking about their challenges. We were just there to vent. The main purpose for me starting that group was to get at least 1,000 farmers within Machakos. That time, I think Machakos and Kajiado County. But mainly it was just a river, Kitengela and Machakos and Nairobi, to get market, to get, if you could get extension officers, because at that time I had now started visiting the input suppliers, the seed companies, fertilizer companies and all that, asking them, please give me somebody who can guide me, because we cannot all come as farmers to your offices, and we cannot only rely on the sales agronomists. So we'd want somebody who can work with us. And that's how I started Africa Farmers Club. I remember initially I had wanted to join one of the local universities to pursue an agriculture-based degree. And I got a rejection. I was told I was too overqualified and I didn't know how. And then, but one of the most interesting things that 2 months after that rejection letter, I got a letter from the same university telling me, with your experience, we would like to send our students for internship to your farm.
Interesting.
And I was like, that is very interesting. I didn't know how that would look like. But because I needed information online, I told these students, I'll be teaching you in the morning to around 1 p.m. In the afternoon, whatever I've taught you, you have to put it in the group.
Okay.
And I would also share my own experience, as well as visiting farmers and sharing that. So the goal was 1,000 farmers within 3 months.
Okay.
Within 3 months, we had 16,000.
16,000.
Yes, who had joined the group. I don't have any background. The only background I have in agriculture is my farm. And the farmers are visited, which not all that information was factual. It was more emotional, because the farmer would be like, no, me, I just decided to spray, instead of spraying an insecticide, I decided to get a detergent and spray. And I was told that works. So fast forward 3 months later, I asked myself, what am I going to do with these 16,000 people? And it was growing. So I told myself, I have spoken to these input suppliers, and each of them have a solution. I was not open, up to now, not yet open to advertising in the group, because I saw that in most of the other groups. So I said, I will structure the week. So on Monday, I decided to do, it was Farm Plan Monday. So on Monday, we were discussing what are you doing on your farm, what are you planning on your farm activities, and all that. On Tuesday, it was Diagnostics Tuesday, where, as the name suggests, everybody would come there. And for some reason, farmers thought that I was like an agronomist. So my inbox was full.
Okay.
My SMSs, everybody was asking me questions, and some of it I didn't know. So it made me start researching more. And as I was researching, I was also seeing so many solutions out there, and I was asking farmers, have you used this? Have you used this? No, I've not used. Yes, some had used, but it was the information that they were getting in terms of feedback was not localized. So on Wednesday was Market Watch, where we discuss about different markets and stuff like that. On Thursday, it was Sauti ya Mkulima. We wanted to flip it and have the Swahili version of it. And then on Friday was Ask the Expert. So I would look for an expert and have a session in the evening. Most of the sessions were in the evening between 7 and 9 p.m. We would go live in the group and just answer these questions. Some farmers were not very active on Facebook. So what they decided to do was they asked us on Saturdays, can you please summarize up for us some of the best posts? And Alice, I can tell you, I used to post 12 posts per day.
Wow.
On that group. I still do.
To date.
How
many years later?
12 posts per day.
How many years later?
Since 2007.
2007?
Yes, I still do that.
Wow.
And so why Africa Farmers Club is because of this 16,000 after the first 3 months. I think 60% was Kenya by virtue that we were in Kenya, but the rest we're getting farmers from Zambia, farmers from South Africa, from Botswana asking questions. Nigeria and Botswana is really one of the two of the countries that are very active. But we're also getting some farmers from India who are like, would like to join and share our experiences.
All the way. So you're not just limited to Sub-Saharan Africa, you've gone Asia.
And it was interesting. At that time, I didn't think of it as a tech solution. But I was thinking through, how can I use this? So we're building some bots in between, thinking of how to be able to scrap some of the data from the group and build something. So we built quite a number. I think I've built more than 13 different solutions, just using that information. But all that failed. All 13
of them?
All 13 failed because farmers decided to stick on Facebook because it was more interactive. The other way around was you have to tell a farmer to download it. It becomes a bit of a challenge, At that time, there was limitation in terms of the type of phone. Now I see there's quite a lot happening. But the Africa Farmers Club grew very fast. I remember I think 2 years later, we were at 100,000. And it got stuck there for some time because what we decided to do is now to decentralize that. So we had Africa Farmers Club Nigeria, Africa Farmers Club South Africa, Africa Farmers Club Coffee, Poultry, and all that. So that there are farmers who join and be like, oh, we just want information about cocoa. But since we don't have, we had to look for an expert in the cocoa growing regions, and then they would be able to pick it up.
Nice.
So some of the groups, we even released them because they grew beyond what we could, because we don't do a lot of cotton, so a cotton group would no longer make sense to the audience that we were serving, and it went yes. So that was one of the solutions, Africa Farmers Club. The other one was a farmer bot. Farmer bot was a bot on Telegram where farmers would be able to put in their details. I still look at it these days and just laugh because they put the details.
How successful was that, given that you said farmers are not so conversant?
I think that is the solution that actually made me get into deeper into human-centered design.
Oh, nice.
Because what farmers wanted was, I need somebody who can show me what to grow, how to grow, when to grow, how to get market, how can I market my produce, and how can I go back to the farm, And added to that, they also wanted to see, where can I get a farm manager or a farm supervisor or a farm hand? Yes. Yeah, so it was really successful. Yeah.
Let me just take a pause there. When you say these farmers needed all these things that you have mentioned,
yes,
who are the people offering these solutions? Were they experienced farmers, or were they the experienced farmers plus other key players?
So initially, we had very limited information because the people who were actually farming had a lot of reservations in terms of sharing information. And for one reason, it was because I think it looked like more of competition. So you're asking this, and there are not many farmers as well. A lot of it was also a lot of trial and error. So a farmer just plants, then realizes midway, this is not the seed variety I needed. Probably they bought seedlings from somebody who was not certified. Probably the market has changed. A lot of information was based on the current market prices. So you'll find the tomatoes are selling really well, and somebody realizes, oh, tomatoes can sell well. Let me buy seeds. Put it in the nursery. Half the nursery survives, half goes away. Yes, and
funeral.
Now yes, and then when you go to when you grow the crop, yes, you have a fantastic crop, but now where's the market? So that became a bit of a challenge. So we had a lot of that information. We had a lot of queries, but very little information. The information that we had that was a lot was seed quality, seed variety. That's it, because that was what was being pushed mainly by the seed input. I can say input agronomists who sales-based agronomists who sell input seeds. I mean, they'll tell you this is very good seed for your region to get. Yeah. However, what happened later, we realized that the farmers hold a lot of information.
Oh, yes.
So started going back down to the farmers. I remember that I have learned a lot from farmers. One thing that I learned from farmers was don't rush to buy seed. Try and get your own seed variety. For example, if it's maize, get a seed variety. Don't get the latest seed variety that is out in the market. Go back to the original seed variety that is good for that region. If you can preserve some of your seed, what to grow next to which crop. That was a very interesting journey. I remember, Alisa, if I tell you my story, we will not finish the interview. I remember even just managing the farm was information that I didn't have. And so most of us are told, if you put this in farming, this is what you get. I'll just tell you as I finish this part. I was told if I put 40,000 shillings growing watermelon, I'll get 400,000 in 4 months. I did not get my 40,000.
What happened? You held a funeral, watermelon funeral.
The person who sold me that concept also sold me a farming guide for how to grow watermelons. And it was very painful because that guide was 2,500 shillings.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And I bought it. And opening it, even the varieties there are not from Kenya.
Oh, no.
Even the fertilizer, nobody told me about soil testing. Nobody told me about the mighty melon fly that affects all your watermelons. Yeah, so that time there was very little information. Right now, there's too much information. So it's even more dangerous because then which information do you really rely on? And hence now the reason why I keep on saying, as much as we would follow and say, let's build tech solutions, I think it has to be farmer oriented before the solution is out there.
Okay. Yeah. Allow me to just pivot on what you have just said and ask for a farmer.
Yes.
How do you know which information to rely on?
Wow.
What's the criteria for choosing?
That's interesting. So I will say this: farming is not for everyone.
Expound.
So farming is like marriage.
We have a philosopher. He's not only a techpreneur, farmer. He's turning into a philosopher. So let's listen.
I'll tell you this. Farming is like marriage.
Okay.
It's not for everyone.
All right.
Because you have to get into it. Remember, you get a certificate before you start. Many people get the certificate on their wedding day. So it's the only profession that you're certified before you start.
Before you start.
So the same is farming. Farming is dynamic. Farming is dynamic. Farming is a business. But most of us get into farming as a way of, I just want to relax. I want something that is not too much pressure and all this. However, farming requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, a lot of the same. I go back to marriage. You need a lot of information as a man to know, am I good enough to be a husband? You're not stopping being a man. You still remain a man, but you have to be now a husband. Then you'll become a father. Then you'll have in-laws. So the same with farming. Farming, then you remember that you are going to have children on the farm. You're going to have farm workers. They will need to be paid whether you make losses or profit. You have to fund that lifestyle. And farming lifestyle is not the cheapest, You have to keep on going to your farm before you harvest. Then you don't know whether that is the right market or the right time to plant the crop, and unless you have a lot of information. For example, now most farmers don't know whether to plant onions or not. We have a challenge in one of the borders just nearby, where we used to, by this time, onion prices would be very high because we'd be having a lot of onions coming in. Now we don't have onions coming in from a neighboring country. So the prices is high. So anybody who decided not to have onions, then they're at a loss. But now most farmers will get into. So why am I putting this across? Is because this information, then you need to know where to get reliable, credible, and unbiased information. So I'm not saying don't rely on your sales agronomists. No, you can rely on them, but put them to task. Ask them, oh, this is a good seed variety. Fantastic, good. I want to pick you. I want us to go to the market tomorrow. And then we want to ask, I want you to help me identify this. If it's an onion, is this the onion that you're telling me to grow? What size is it? Take me to 5 or even 3 different farmers who are growing your seed variety, who have done it in the last 3 years, so that I can be confident that it is indeed going to work for me. So it needs you to be more proactive in farming. We would really love to have extension officers because they are unbiased, the government ones. They're not paid off profits. They are paid to support farmers and train farmers. It would be fantastic to have them. But right now,
are they not there? Because they're there. Like I went to more or less a university that started off focusing more on agriculture.
Yes.
That's Egerton University.
Yes.
And I remember there was a course there for agricultural extension. So for sure, I know these people are being trained.
Yes.
Yes. So
yes.
Are they not there?
Yeah, and one of the reasons why, as I'll mention later on, the training center that we have here is because there is no practical bit. They don't have very many. We still have students who join us here at the farm for internship, but some of them come and tell you they have never seen a seed type, like a tomato seed. I think one a few weeks back told me they've never seen a maize seed. One had never seen watermelon on the farm. So, and if you look at the kind of farmers that we are getting...
Someone has never seen a maize seed?
Some have never even prepared a nursery.
Okay.
Some have never seen a knapsack. Yes. So the information that we are supposed to be having, and I think that has to be more or less a county and national government policy in terms of to localize extension services to ward level. Before that, right now, the information is all over. Again, the same thing as I go back and say, there are so many dating apps and sites, but how then do you identify real?
Or if they are real people?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. One of the things, more or less, mostly these days, we are moving and there's a push towards eco farming, where the chemical fertilizers, are being quote unquote done away with.
Yes.
And there's more push towards using organic fertilizers or pesticides and everything.
Yes.
I know for sure you chose to go 100% organic.
Yes.
Tell us your experience with that. For how long have you been doing that? Or from the word go, you always have been an organic farmer?
No, I can say I was not an organic farmer. I didn't even believe that there's organic farming that can do well. And one reason, and which is a fact as well, is, and I'm not saying that the conventional way of doing it, the chemical, the inorganic ones are bad. However, anything that you're using on your farm goes directly to your diet. It goes directly to your body. And the biggest challenge is not even the banned chemicals, I'll tell you for sure. Even the ones that are not banned are being misused. It's just like medicine. Sometimes we are told 2 times 3, but you'll be like...
3 times 3.
Exactly. So the same thing is happening. And I remember we ran a very interesting campaign a while back of safe use of pesticides. The reason why I went into it is because I saw a lot of that being abused even on my farm. It was a lot of that was being abused in terms of use of chemicals and all that. You'd find somebody says they can do it, they know how to mix it, then you realize that the ratios were wrong. And then also, apart from that, was also the danger that my produce posed on those who I was selling the produce to. But it's a challenge. It's a very big challenge because it's an education thing. The organic pesticides do well, but they require a little bit more protection. So you need a little bit more in terms of that, in terms of the knowledge. Even farmers don't know how to use it. They are not as affordable as we would like them to be. However, that is something that can be reversed. For us, what has helped us most is the fact that we also produce our own that we use locally. We were forced to grow some of the trees, some of the herbs that are here that we now use as pesticides. Yes. So it wasn't an easy journey. It is still not an easy journey because we are living in the tropics, meaning the pests are, this is the paradise for pests.
Paradise.
Yes, and the weather allows production of, we don't get winters where the eggs will be destroyed. We don't get really very hot seasons where they'll die probably. But so the weather favors pests. So going to it fully is a challenge. Yes.
Oh, okay. So for how long have you been an organic farmer, purely 100%?
This is 3 years now.
3 years now.
Yes.
Allow me to ask for, even the sake of the listeners, when you compare your yield and revenue, the revenue that comes out of the yield, when you compare that before organic farming and after, how would you say things are? Are you getting more yield, more revenue, or is it less? Is it a game of patience with the anticipation that it keeps growing? I've had farmers saying, when you start off as an organic farmer, the yield might not be that much, but it keeps growing as the years go by. What is your opinion on the same?
So I'll go back to my philosophy. You told me I'm a philosopher. So when you marry today and you are 9 children, you have an option of getting 9 ladies and getting 9 children, but you have to wait for 9 months. Or get one and 9 years, you get 9 children.
Yeah, every year. That's
I'm saying if you want 9.
Okay.
If you want 9.
On a light note.
However, the same with the yield. And this is something that has to be put across. We are not saying do not use inorganic fertilizers. No. You need to ask yourself, first of all, is my soil healthy enough? As we'll walk through the farm, you'll see Chinese cabbages. We have never applied fertilizer on that. You'll see most of the crops, the pawpaws and the mangoes are yet to start, the bananas. We have never applied any organic fertilizers, inorganic fertilizers. We have done a lot of manure. In fact, some of it has not, like the Chinese cabbage, we've never even applied manure.
Oh, interesting.
Why? Because at the point at which I was getting this farm, I first did a comprehensive soil test, because it told me what it looks like. This region, especially this farm, and most of the farms around Kajiado, has been areas where grazing has been done. So there's already a lot of manure. Yes. In fact, one of our neighbors next year is growing onions, and that area, if you look at the color of the soil, it's a bit gray. I think if we get time, we'll get to. That's just manure. It was a place where the cows and the sheep were for like 15 years.
Or something.
Yes.
Wow.
So why would they need that? However, there's also an important thing to note, that for anybody who's watching now, they're already where they are. Probably their soil is not as healthy. So we're not saying stop inorganic fertilizers. Probably just ask yourself, what is good enough? Okay, what is good enough? For example, you go and you're sick in a hospital. However much you need to be treated. You'll not just be given everything at once. I remember some time back I had a toothache and it was really painful, and I went to the dentist and they told me, oh, as much as we would like to remove it, we cannot remove it. You have to take this painkillers this antibiotics for the next 5 days. Wow. And that was interesting because I wanted it out. So the soils that we have in Kenya, I think, need a lot of work to be done, but we cannot keep on adding more fertilizer. So the work of inorganic fertilizers is to feed the current crop. That is why you see high rise in terms of yield. However, what we need is rebuilding our soil, and that's why when you visit the farm, you'll see. I think you've seen there's some areas we've just let it fallow because the soil needs to breathe back. It might not be profitable for farmers, but when you come here probably a month from now or 2 months from now, you'll see a very different shamba, but the yield will be. So in terms of yield, again, I go back and say, you cannot determine yield only by the inorganic fertilizers that you put in. It is a condition of the soil that you have that determines the overall yield. Whatever you get, remember, whatever you put in, and I always say this, the inorganic fertilizers, from my own experience, as well as other farmers, is like an energy drink. You will stay alert, stay alert.
Philosopher.
You stay alert until the body is tired. But when once the body is tired and shuts down, however much energy drink you drink, it will not help you. So that's what we need to do with our soils. We need to repair our soils so that even if you take that energy drink, it's just for something to enable you to finish some work. However, you might not need it. Like for example, when you look at our pawpaws, in terms of yield, it is good. We just have a challenge because it's windy, and because of the wind, it affects pawpaws. Don't like very windy areas. However, you look at the yield, test the pawpaw, and you'll see it is as sweet as one that has been put a lot of fertilizer in it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
For our viewers, Noah is a soil testing advocate. I think that's something he hasn't mentioned. And I wonder whether you just want to talk a little bit more about that in particular, and how do you, in a way, consult with fellow farmers with regard to soil testing?
Oh, yes. So at this point, I don't think it's not advertising, but
we are helping farmers. It's all about
yes.
the farmers by this. So
Yes.
any information that would help farmers, we gladly just look for that and share that with farmers.
Fantastic.
So, over to you.
Yeah, so I am a believer of soil health. And this is something that came not by chance. It's actually, I was harvesting some time back. I was harvesting capsicum from my farm in Kamulu, and the lady who was buying from me at that time asked me, "How come you only harvest once a week?" So I asked her, "Can I harvest more than once?" She's like, "Yes, you should harvest at least twice or thrice a week." And I'm like, "How is that possible?" And automatically I went to one of the search engines and started searching, but I didn't get information. So she asked me, "Mchanga yako umepima?" You know, it came from a very unlikely source, that question. And I was like, I had never heard that you test your soil. That was 5 years after I got into farming.
Wow.
Yes. Because anytime I would go to an agrovet, they would tell me, use this fertilizer. At no point did they ask me, have you tested your soil? And so that's when I went and I looked for, I think, 3 different sources of testing soil. I went to a government one, I went to 2 private ones, but the information that I got from 2 was not information I could even share with anyone. But again, I was doing farmer-centered design. I picked the soil samples and took to these 3 different soil testing companies. I can say, fast forward now, I am actually a daktari wa udongo to one of
Daktari Odongo, for the non-Swahili speakers, is a doctor of soils.
Yeah, doctor of soils from Crop Nuts, which they showed me how they took me to the lab. I was very inquisitive. I went and saw the lab, how they do the testing, how they everything, and actually asked them, can I also share this knowledge with other farmers? And they're like, yes. And I became one of the Daktari Odongos, where now we help farmers understand their soils. However, testing soil is just one component. It's like going to a hospital and getting the lab results. Then you need to understand. If you've done a blood test, you need to know what are platelets, white blood cells, and all these things. So the same with your soil. You need to get a deep understanding of what that looks like. And with deep understanding, meaning you need to look at the pathology. These are the soil-borne diseases that are in your soil, because some of that affects the yield of your crops. For example, tomatoes are affected by things like fusarium wilt or bacterial wilt. Sometimes you get very good tomatoes, but they're soft, they rot faster because of calcium deficiency. But also, apart from that, the nutrients that are in the soil. Then you need to check, apart from the macronutrients that we get, the potassium, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Then you need to go to the micro ones, things like boron, so that it helps you know, if I grow watermelon, then it will be sweet because my boron levels are high. If I sometimes back when you visit our parents back home, they say, in my farm, this part is very fertile. So that means then the soil has not been tested, so they don't know which fertilizer to use when. It also enables you to know what fertilizer to use at what point. For example, my soil here it's red soil, fantastic soil, but very poor in nitrogen. And also the holding structure of the soil. So it automatically then it tells me, automatically meaning I understand it. But before that, I don't know why red soil is good and why is it not good. For example, if you're growing crops in the red soil, you need a lot of manure to help bring the soil together. If you're growing same crops in black cotton soil, you need manure so that the roots get aerated and they can to condition the soil.
Thanks a lot for sharing that. Just to let you know, the one reason why we very intentional at Rise Africa Agricultural Services in interviewing experienced farmers, let me say that, is we can learn from their own experiences. For any aspiring farmer out there, I know if you're wise enough, you will not go into farming for 5 years like Noah did before you test your soil. Yes. So learning from him, you can easily go and test your soil, and depending on what you want to grow, or rather what the results are, you will know how to boost your soil or what to grow on that particular soil and everything. And now allow me to ask, based off what you have asked, there are 2 follow-up questions that I have. You can respond to one, then I can ask the other. The first one is, you mentioned that you let your land just stay bare after some time, after some cultivation period, so that the soil regenerates. Could you kindly shed a little bit more light on that? For how long do you farm a particular area? And then for how long do you let it stay bare so that the soil can regenerate? And is there anything you do when there's no cultivation to help the soil regenerate?
Yeah, so going back to what we discussed about why the importance of soil health, and is because as you're doing the farming, you need to understand that soil needs also to breathe. And some of the things that help that soil to be productive for you to enjoy the yield that you want are some very small things called microbes. So those microbes are what enable the soil are some of the things that enable the soil to generate itself. And even when you use manure, we are actually advised to apply the manure that is well decomposed, probably a year or older, for it to decompose. I know many times farmers just get the manure from the cows and pour on the farm. But this manure comes with, the fresh manure comes with a lot of pests inside. So it means that it has not yet decomposed well for it to be taken up by the soil. It takes more than 6 years for soil, probably even longer, for soil to regenerate itself. So if I abuse my soil today, it will take another 6 years plus. However, because I still need to keep on using it, I need to keep on adding some energy drink to it so that it produces more. So for us here, after doing an extensive soil test, and also with my background now in soil management, I have realized, in soil health management, I've realized that then whatever crop we grow after 2 years does not do as well as we expect. And also whatever crop we grow, so that information plus our soil testing, because we do our soil testing after every 2 years.
Oh, wow.
To be able to determine how much of the nutrients that exist has been depleted by the crops. So if you do a heavy crop, for example, maize, things like watermelon, things like onions that take a lot of nutrients in the soil, you need to let it breathe for some time. So that is one way. For us, we do that, one, because of the markets as well. Sometimes after 2 or 3 years, the market prices fluctuate. So how do I do this? How do we do here? What we do is that immediately after a heavy rain, we harvest and let it fallow for at least 6 to 8 months.
Every single year?
No, after every 2 years.
After every 2 years?
After every 2 years.
Immediately after the heavy rainfall, okay.
But we plan our activities thoroughly. For example, before any heavy crop means a crop that takes up a certain nutrient. Most of the time it's nitrogen, because phosphorus is a slow release, and so it doesn't matter so much. However, anything that takes up a lot of nitrogen and potassium is a heavy feeder for us in the soil that we have. So before planting any maize or planting any onions or planting watermelons, we first plant beans, because beans will automatically fix the nitrogen.
Legumes.
Yes, the legumes. And it's also good money. Okay, so however, good money is relative. Okay. So you can either do beans or kunde. For us, sometimes we just do kunde. Kunde, 30 to 45 days, it's ready to the market. And it has done your work. Advantage of kunde over beans is that the fact that the beans will take up potassium in the process of converting. It also takes a bit longer. So depending on what we want, for example, if we are going to do onions, the day we're doing the onions in the nursery is the same day that we're doing onions on the farm. So that this 30, 45 days, the onion is ready to go to the market and the nitrogen is ready in the soil. So do onions. So we do onions. After that, we'll do another crop of onion, or we change to maize. And then we will repeat that cycle again. After that, our 2 years is ready. We will make sure that we're harvesting just before the rains. Mostly you'll find that we harvest April, May, and then we leave the land fallow. Why? Because the weeds will grow automatically because of the rains. Why we don't want to do that when it's not going to rain is because then there will be no weeds that will grow, so a lot of soil erosion, which again doesn't make sense. So we leave that so that the rain it will rain on the farm. We'll leave the land fallow for at least 6 months. 6 months for us, because that is the time we know that soil will start growing. Whatever you see on the farm is a result of 6 months, and that's why you find that we don't need to use a lot of fertilizer. We don't actually use fertilizer, and you'll see the yield that is there. That is a bit different also when you're doing fruit trees, which eventually to answer that, the next question, I'll get to that. Fruit trees require a lot of manure. For us, based on our soil structure, we do manure a month before the rains. We irrigate our fruit trees, but a month before the rains, heavy rains, we put manure so that at least it can boost the growth.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thanks a lot for the information that you've shared. The next question had to do...
let me just go back to that question.
Sure.
Some of the farmers don't have as much land.
Yes.
And that would be interesting for us to tell them, don't use your land for some time. However, I always say that not all crops are marketable all seasons. So your land needs to remain, it needs to rest.
Okay.
If the land rests, automatically it will yield better. However, if you cannot afford your land to
rest,
change a crop that is not going to put a lot of pressure on the soil. For example, things like coriander, things that take shorter periods, kundes and the rest, so that at least the land you're not putting a lot of pressure on it. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's considerate of you to remember those farmers who don't have...
I was an 1/8 of an acre farmer for a long time.
Started off with an 1/8 of an acre, growing capsicum.
Capsicum, yes.
That's interesting. Yeah. So the next question is, you mentioned that you produce your own organic fertilizer. Yes. Could you kindly just share how you do that? I know there's a practical bit to it, but just an overview, high level of the process.
Yeah. So I think I'll answer that based also on what most viewers and farmers expect to hear. They would expect to hear that you have a really good organic fertilizer that is in the shelves, or which they're there, or a pesticide that is there. But the mention of organic is already tells you that it's local. The mention of organic is already local. However, some of these things might not be as easy for us to comprehend or to see the importance. For example, we have just finished with our rabbits, a flock of rabbits, but we don't keep rabbits for sale. We keep rabbits because of the rabbit urine. So the rabbit urine is high in nitrogen, but also it's one of the best insecticides.
Oh, nice.
The smell is so strong that you don't get things like aphids, things like mites around the crops. So automatically, rabbit urine, once it's converted, it becomes an insecticide, a nitrogen booster as well. So that already, I'm just trying to show that it is a simple way that even as a normal farmer, you can just be able to do that on your own. Then there's something that where I come from, we call it munyu walikoshe. So
that is Greek. Explain
so this
your
is
Greek.
Just the ash from after you've used firewood or charcoal. That dust, it's normally called munyu. It's used to make beans softer or for cooking.
Is it the same thing called mushareha or something?
Munyu mushareha. It's the same thing. Yeah, you said it very nicely. Yes, so it's the same thing. It is used also to spray aphids. Most of the crops that we grow aphids and are affected by that, as well as things like, I'm forgetting, the one that affects onions the most, So most of the insects are actually pushed away by that munyu, the mixture. So it's just that done really well, sieved really well, and stored and sprayed. The other thing is, and as you'll see some of the trees that we planted.
So do you use it alone? Just sorry to cut you short. Do you use that munyu, the ash alone, when you're spraying?
No, we don't use it alone.
Or do you mix it up?
You mix it with water. You mix it with water. Sometimes you just put like for example, some of the pawpaws were really affected. We'll just take that dust, that ash, and put at the base of each tree.
Oh, nice.
And so any pest that would come in, they would not pass through the ash, would be repelled, and do not climb on top of the of the trees.
I'm listening to you and I'm realizing, even to our viewers, I hope you're seeing this. It's just interesting how we have the solutions amongst ourselves.
Yes.
Really,
and that's why, for me, when I talk about organic, I don't want farmers to think, go to a shop, an agrovet, ask for an organic. You will not get it, because that's not their business model. Their business model is inorganic. And so you'll be frustrated because you'll not find anywhere. The other thing that we were actually forced to grow here was neem, Mwarobaini trees. We could not find, the time that we were actually making one of the elephant repellent, we had to go all the way to Kilifi to get, because it was during the drought season. So nowhere would we get Mwarobaini leaves. So we had to go all the way to Kilifi to get the neem leaves. So neem leaves on its own, as much as it helps the human body, it is also a very good insecticide. And the leaves, once they've dried, it's also very good for compost.
Nice.
The other thing is that is important.
So you just grow the neem trees and
then you now just take the leaves, you boil, you let it cool, you can mix with aloe vera if you want, and then just spray in your farm. Actually, the Chinese cabbage that you will see is actually a product of just neem. Wow. Nothing else. Yes. But we're not saying that it is 100%, and we're not saying move from inorganic and come to this way. You need also to test and see what works well for you. Yes.
I like that. Thank you for being real and for those disclaimers or the words of cautions. I really appreciate that. Yes. Well, to our viewers, he mentioned that they are done with that process of the batch that they just made of organic fertilizer is already out in the markets. What we are going to do as Rise Africa Agricultural Services, we are going to come back again when they start producing the next batch, so that we take you through the process, practically what they do. And Mr. Nasiali is the one who's going to just take us through that if you have your own rabbits, if you have these things, you will know how to do it. And on behalf of our viewers, and especially the farmers who are watching, thank you very much for being open with information. I know a lot of people don't do that because they're afraid of competition. Yes. I personally say there's a point where competition doesn't make sense, because either way, a friend of mine once told me, every bus that goes to the bus station will have its own customers. So there's a point it reaches where competition doesn't make sense. Just help each other either way.
And actually, one of the reasons why I started Africa Farmers Club was because of that. Because some farmers that I used to visit, let me tell you, Alice, would visit a farmer who has a pesticide, but they've ripped off the cover. And I would be like, why? And slowly you'd hear, we don't want the neighbor to know what I'm using. Okay? And that is the challenge that we have, especially in agriculture now, especially now sitting as a policy, in policy as well. I see that we have a lot of information, a lot of resources in the agriculture sector, but very little is reaching the smallholder farmers effectively. For one main reason, because we are operating in silos. So everybody is operating in silos. And I still insist, as much as farmers, we are telling farmers to go organic, it might not work out for you. However, then we need a collaboration between the inorganic and the organic, so that we know this soil seriously needs something. And I always say, yes, as much as I am pro-organic, but it's a fact. There's some instances that the organic will not really start off very really well. So what does a farmer need to do? Just safe use of this inorganic, because some of the medicine we get in the hospitals are not organic. And so we cannot force and say you can only eat organic. However, food is sensitive. So if you can be able to make sure that farmers are observing the minimum residue levels, then it's a win. Yes.
That's great. Thank you so much for just mentioning that. And the bit of you don't want your neighbor to know, there is something called cross-pollination. You will grow your crops. You will refuse with that knowledge. Keep it a secret and all until your crops get pollen from the other farm, and they are affected.
And you have yellow maize now.
Yes. Sharing is caring. So where you can just release the information and build each other up, that is my encouragement to you. Yeah. You have mentioned a farmers training center. Tell us more about that. Wow. What was the inspiration behind that? And what exactly do you do?
Wow, that one is the center of my it's what drives me. So AFarmers started officially in the year 2018. But before that, I remember in 2018 in 2017 I received some messages on Facebook, and I think one of the messages was, we are from Facebook and we'd like to contact you.
Okay.
We are coming to Kenya and we'd like to have a meeting with you. And at that time it was very serious. There was very serious communication from these guys who call and say, we are calling from so and so, and I mean just fake prank calls. And so I kept on blocking them. I told them, no, it's I mean, why would you contact me from Facebook? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So at some point I said, okay, fine, they've insisted, let me just pick it up. So I picked the call. They told me they're calling from Facebook, and they would like to have a discussion with me. They're coming to Kenya. Then I was like, okay, why? Like, when we come, we will tell you. I was like, okay, let me, I mean, it didn't hurt. But please go and take a photo with Mark Zuckerberg and send me so that I know you are real.
Mark Zuckerberg
and they actually did it.
Oh, for real?
And they actually did it.
Okay.
And so when they came, I was very embarrassed. However, they told me we were meeting in, I think it was in Hurlingham. So I went there, but I was very cautious because I was like,
am I being pranked?
It didn't make sense. So I parked the car very far so that in case worst case comes to the worst, I would dash out.
Did they Photoshop Mark Zuckerberg in there?
No, yeah. So, and it's interesting, that building, when I went into the building, the first 4 floors were empty. And I was in the lift going to the 5th floor. I was like, okay, interesting. I mean, it can't be this, but it's 8 in the morning. I was like, okay. So we met with a fantastic team from Facebook. It was the turning point in my life, I can tell you for sure. Because then we met with, I think, 13 other people who were using Facebook to build communities. So mine was a farming community. There was someone else who was building, I think it's called Let's Cook Kenyan Meals. Yeah. We had another one that had, I think, Kenyan youths who are doing skydiving. Yes, we had quite a number of different people who were using Facebook to build communities. And that time, that was what Facebook's mission was, to help people who are building, to empower people who are building, using Facebook to build meaningful communities. And so we had a discussion. They asked us, what would you like us to do for you? And one of the things that I did, because of being in tech, I said, can you just make the platform more secure? Because I had seen the interaction. I had tried to build something like that where people would interact a lot, but it wasn't easy. Whatever was put, and I had seen what Africa Farmers Club had achieved. And at that time, we did not have any data regarding what the interactions that were there. And so I asked them if we can be able to build that so that we could be able, as admins, be able to access that data. And so they took all these recommendations, and that was it. So we started seeing a lot of changes in Facebook groups in terms of how it works, the data that we were able to receive, to know how many people are joining the group, how many people are viewing the content. And this was very important, especially for farmers, and especially from what I was building. And then, so that was in 2017. 2018, I received a call, I think it was in August, and I was told, we would like you to come to California. And I was like, oh, interesting. California. Oh, okay. And I didn't know what to say at the embassy, because I would only say I've been invited by Facebook. And at that time, I think that Facebook was a very small thing. I can say it was not as big as I thought it was. So to say that I was being invited by Facebook sounded like a comedy.
Jokester.
Exactly. And when I reached the counter at the embassy, they asked me, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to California. Why? I've been called. Here, my letter. And I was like, they told me, go and pay for your visa. And I was like, okay, interesting. This is interesting. So I went, and we had really good discussions. At that time, I was representing Africa and Middle East in the emerging markets.
Nice.
So that's, and at that time we also helped, we were working with I was working with Facebook to be able to see how we can be able to pass on this content of how to make sure that the Facebook groups are safe, secure, for people to use. And I came back. So when I came back, I think I came back in August. Then in October, in September, I was told, now we would like you to come back, but we'd like you to come back in a different capacity. Just in how you manage your group, come. So I went. I was able to speak at the United Nations Social Good conference that was there. And at that moment is when they announced that they were going to, we were 5 of us, that they're going to support us by giving us personal grants to continue building our communities, and basically to do what we want to do with the money, if building communities were one of the things. And so we were 5 of us, one from Europe, one from America, one from Brazil, and one from India. So I was representing Africa and Middle East. And each of us was given $1 million to be able to advance what we were doing.
Wow.
Yes. And it was very interesting because for me, it didn't hit me. In fact, even when it was announced, it didn't hit me. And I was like, oh, yeah, interesting. And until then they asked, I think during one of the interviews, I was asked, what would you like to do with that? That's when I actually calculated what that would look like.
You have to think of answers very fast.
No, I had already thought about it. In fact, one of the reasons why they picked me is because there was something that they were running, a campaign they were running before, that if you were given $1 million, what would you want to do? I still have that screenshot up to today. That was 2 years before that was happening. And I'd said I would love to build a training center for farmers. That was a very interesting part of it, because that is what built AFarmers. So that is now when in 2019 we registered as AFarmers. AFarmers meaning African farmers. And the training center, initially we wanted to, and that's what we did initially, we wanted to train farmers directly. And we tested that model in 2020, and then COVID hit. So 2021, we did a lot of media. That's why you see this other one on the other side.
AFarmers TV
Yes,
was born.
yes. And so the main aim was telling the story of the African farmers by visiting farmers and coming and telling the story of how they are doing, what they're doing. So we had 3 things that we were focusing on: what works well, what would you change, and what would you copy. Okay. So we did that for a while, but because of interaction, the COVID really damaged so much. We saw a lot of challenges farmers faced, but also many people got into farming because of that.
Wow.
And so a result, a positive of COVID was many people got into farming, but a negative of it is many people got into farming without knowing how to do it. Yeah. And so that was the birth of AFarmers, the training center. We are just finalizing the construction of it. We had to take a pause the COVID years, so we took a pause for around 2 years, 2.5 years. So we've just started. I'll take you through what we have there. And the whole idea now, we changed the part of the model, and now we want to train. It's more or less a farmers Agritech and leadership center.
Nice.
So the leadership center is because we want to get these young people who already have the knowledge in agriculture, retrain them on things like soft skills, retrain them on latest models, show them practical. So when they join us, we're starting off in September, in January. The intake starts in September. We will allocate each of them half an acre with all inputs. So they will run for a whole 6 months. They will know how everything is done. We are also in the process of building a solution, a software solution that they can be able to use to manage the farms. And they'll be ready for the jobs market, meaning they'll be ready to go and manage your farm and something like that.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really incredible and visionary. I can't just help but think, you started off, when you're thinking about that Africa Farmers Club, I know it's what birthed all these things gradually.
Yes.
Your vision, what you saw was, all you wanted was just maybe 1,000, just reach 1,000 within, not even Kenya, close to Nairobi, and Nairobi and its environs there, Machakos, Athi River, I think, just around there.
Yes.
But it's just beautiful that today you're, 450K, 450,000 farmers. Sub-Saharan Africa, I've heard you mention India as well. And it's amazing how what started off like that eventually turned out to be global. And even this interview is going to be global. So yeah, but it's really, really beautiful. And I commend you for that. Yeah. That happens with just vision, just start off. At times you never know where it will lead, but just start off. And having that heart of, you're thinking beyond yourself. You have that lived experience. You have been, Kenyans call it kuchomeka. You have tried farming, and vitu kwa ground ni different. Farming has taken you through some process of character development. You ask yourself, how can I grow? And not just but you think beyond yourself. Yeah. So that's really, really great, Mr. Nasiali.
So just to add on that, I'm also a very strong believer. And one of the things that I know is that whatever you receive free,
give it freely.
Yes. And it has worked so well for me, because I never paid any agronomist from any seed company to give me information. In fact, some of them would come, they would be like, no, we want to test. Do you have space on the farm? We want to test a new variety. I'd be like, come over. Wow. And when the variety is about, the crop is about ready, I would be like, can we bring some farmers just to come and see? And farmers would come. We would not even charge them. And it has worked really, really well for me. And apart from that, it's just that now Alice, I've started going to my retirement.
No, you don't retire. You work until.
And that's why I'm saying I'm glad to see this being done. Because when I started off, the question was, will farmers ever be online? Will this information be available? And so when I see this happening, and as I said earlier, when I'm sitting on this other side of the interview, I'm excited, because I believe that this revolution will be televised, and farmers will be able to understand from right sources. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just taking a pause there, and you've had him just mention how they are open to training farmers. We will at some point just plan an agri tour to this farm, So watch this space for that, and make sure, just purpose in your heart of hearts, if you're a farmer or practicing or aspiring farmer, a wise man said, the wise man learns from mistakes, not just his own mistakes, but also from other people's mistakes. Please come and learn. And it's not just learning from mistakes, it's also the successes, because we just don't learn from mistakes. There are successes that we can learn from. So when you hear an agri-tour coming from Rise Africa Agricultural Services, please make sure you're plugged in and you come over. We'll be waiting for you. So the last thing that I'm going to ask as we look forward to just the on-farm tour is, which crops do you have experience farming at Eteina Farm, right where we are? I know you have a farm in Kamulu, where you grow pixies, and you said what else in Kamulu? Bananas. Yes. So for Eteina Farm, which crops do you have experience cultivating? And as you answer that, just let us know, which crops do you currently have at the moment that you're going to show us?
We have mastered growing the basic onions, tomatoes, watermelons, maize as well does very well. We do 3 seasons of green maize here.
Nice.
And beans does very well here. We've done, I think the season before this past one, we had done the whole farm was under beans, and they did very well. If you're fortunate, I think you'll carry some. But do you cook? Anyway.
Oh, yes.
So, but currently we have Chinese cabbage, and Chinese cabbage we're growing for the market, but mainly we're growing for a client who does who processes it, ferments it.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and she does some amazing produce from it, where it helps clean the gut, and if you have any issues with the stomach, things like that, it's a fantastic product. When I test it, I even forget that it comes from my farm. We also have the leeks, the onion leeks. It's a variety that we are testing. So one of the things that we also do here is that we conduct agri research on behalf of organizations. Sometimes they have a new seed variety, or they have something they'd like us to work on in integrated pest management tool and all that, which will be, for us, it's a partnership. It's a partnership that will also be passed on to the students when they join us. Yeah, I think we also have pawpaws. We have some mangoes, which now we are moving towards more of the fruit trees. What we do is that we test first. That is my model, HCD as well. Test, iterate, think through it, prototype,
research.
Then go full blast. So we've seen what varieties do really well here. We have tested the varieties. We have taken the varieties to the market, and different people taking it, so that people don't know where it comes from. Some have told us this one tastes like that one. Have they been grown in the same place? We've also seen the danger of pollination. We had a very strong pawpaw variety, which I will show you, and it was planted against one that is not very strong, and it gave us one pawpaw that was 3 kilos. So cross-pollination, which worked negatively.
Give your neighbor information.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Then we also have a project that we are running with some friends of ours called Nature's Best, and they value add to traditional vegetables.
Nice.
So we have a project with them that we are running, helping the local women, Maasai women, to be able to see the importance of traditional vegetables in their nutrition.
Nice.
So Nature's Best does that. They offtake the traditional vegetables that we grow for them. Yes. At the moment we have maize in the nurseries. I think it's something that people don't do so much, but we opted to do that for very interesting reasons. We have watermelon in the nursery. We have watermelon. So one thing is, when you're practicing climate smart agriculture, one of the things that you have to conserve is water. So when you take the maize to the farm and plant directly, if you have a lot of water, it's fine, you can do it. However, we try and manage that, because then we're also sure how much of the maize has been planted. And then also it reduces the time that the maize on the farm, it reduces the pressure that you have on preparing the land is reduced, because you need 3 weeks to prepare that. And once that is ready, just transplant. We'll see if we can be able to transplant 1 or 2. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes,
That
yes.
would be a nice experience.
Yes.
Looking forward to doing that.
Yes.
So to our viewers, we thank you so much for sticking with us. This interview has been rich, regardless of the time we have taken. It's worth your time anyway. We're just about to go to the farm side, and Mr. Nasiali will show us the different crops that they currently have at the farm. As he mentioned earlier, they do different crops at different seasons, and some of the land is also fallow. He will show us the land that they have left bare so that weeds can grow and the soil can regenerate. So I welcome you to just come with us to the other side. Keep watching. Yeah. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Follow us to the other side. Thank you.